A contactee who has the presence of mind to ask important questions of their extraterrestrial hosts is rare. However, Kenan Cannon has contributed to our knowledge bank about how and why we are being visited. In 1982, Kevin Cannon was working as a US Navy medic and had been stationed on Navy ships for the last 4 years. His bunkmate and best friend during that time was a man named Larry who worked as a personnel clerk on ships. While Kevin had always believed in the existence of UFOs, he was shocked when Larry disclosed that he had been a contactee since childhood, that he had also been on board alien craft many times and even visited their planet. He also told Kevin that the aliens had recently taken him to Kevin's house, which he described in great detail. Just one discrepancy though, he described the house as it was years earlier, making Kevin wonder if he was also able to time travel. Despite his skepticism regarding Larry's claims, Kevin became curious and then expressed an interest in meeting these extraterrestrial beings, whom he referred to as Larry's little green friends. 2 days later, Larry told Kevin that the ETs had agreed to his request, and the following day, during Kevin's lunch break, told him to walk out on deck. There, Kevin was shocked to see a massive craft hovering alongside the Navy ship. The huge diamond-shaped craft was much larger than the ship, so more than 700 feet long and arrayed with brilliant flashing multicoloured lights. Disconcertingly, while there were many of the Navy ship's crew out on the deck, it appeared to be invisible to everyone but Kevin. He ran to a crew member nearby and pointed out the massive aerial object, but the man ignored him. Then suddenly Kevin was no longer on his Navy ship, but looking down at it from above through some kind of metal grate and the transparent floor of the UFO. He watched in fear and disbelief as the Navy ship became smaller and smaller with their ascent straight upwards. Now looking around him, Kevin observed a chest-high console with simple-looking dials and amber, red and green lights, resembling, he thought, a Star Trek set. Now terrified that he was no longer on his Navy ship base, he pinched his hand until it bled and thought, "Oh my God, I'm AWOL." At this point, the ETs started to communicate with him, and, speaking in perfect English, but telepathically, a male voice assured him that no, he was not AWOL, and that they don't even know you're gone. Kevin's next thought was that the surreal experience could not be true, but again the voice responded, "Yes, it is. It's what you wanted." Still too terrified to even look at the ETs, Kevin stood facing the wall until he felt the ship move and change location. He realised that it was now hovering very low, at about treetop level, above his hometown of Kankakee, Illinois, and in fact above the bank where his father worked. Bizarrely, Kevin could not only see through the wall of the alien craft, but also through the wall of the bank building and into his father's office. He saw that his father was having a meeting there with several other co-workers. The UFO took off again and was now hovering above the church where his mother worked as a grade school teacher. Again he could see through the wall of the church and watch his mother at work teaching a class. At this stage, the ETs conveyed the surprising message, "You have good parents. Your mother and father are both very good people and have done a good job." The ETs demonstrated their abilities to transcend time-space boundaries by travelling seamlessly to various locations and time periods. They took him back to a scene from his childhood home, in which his by then deceased grandmother sent him on an errand to the local store. In another astonishing shift, they moved over a desert-like landscape of grey dirt like a cratered bomb site, until he saw the blue globe of Earth in the distance and realised that they were hovering over Earth's moon. The craft shifted effortlessly without apparent movement, transporting him through different time zones and places in the universe. At this stage, despite his continuing experience of terror and trauma in the wildly unfamiliar environment, Kevin's conversation with the ETs began in earnest. Still too nervous to turn around and observe what they looked like, he nevertheless began asking questions. His first was, "Where are you from?" Their answer came in the form of a three-dimensional star chart as the small room expanded to a massive size to show a planetary diagram. Way beyond the sun and the other familiar celestial bodies, he observed a tiny blinking red star, which he was told was the ET's home planet. They told him the names of both their planet and their species, both long foreign language words with many consonants, which he was later unable to remember. Amongst other information the ETs gave Kevin, they told him that they speak all the languages of Earth fluently. Then came his important question, "Why are you here?" They informed him that they had been present in the earthly realm for a long time, but that they were not visiting us to interfere in human religious or political beliefs. They stated that they are simply here to observe. Kevin then asked the aliens if they eat, and when told that they do, asked if they were going to eat him. Assuring him that he watched too many horror movies and that they were not intending to eat him, they also emphasized that they were not there to harm him at all. They explained that it was when humans began testing atomic weapons that they started paying much closer attention to our activities. This, they said, also drew the attention of many other ET species. The explosion of the first atomic bomb started what they ominously called a countdown clock. The ETs then showed Kevin vivid three-dimensional images of future natural disasters occurring worldwide, attributing them to our species' atomic weapon testing. The frighteningly real images were as if looking through a window rather than at a screen, showing floods, landslides, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, and more, cataclysmic events that they described as things that are going to come and which we cannot prevent due to our pursuit of nuclear weapons. In answer to Kevin's many other questions, they also told him that the Roswell crash was true, that they do not have a government, but that they interact with our major world governments, as do at least 4 other species of extraterrestrials. They said that they were trading technologies with our various governments. An astonishing ability of these ETs was that they are able to cloak themselves when they don't want to be seen, or can show themselves to half a group of people but not the other half. Kevin's ultimate question was, "Is there a God?" which seemed to unsettle them. Their strange reply was that they were unable to answer or discuss it, and simply that, quote, "We do have a higher authority to answer to." After being told, "We are not little and we are not green," and that their appearance may frighten him, Kevin finally mustered the courage to turn around and observe the ETs. The 3 praying mantis beings were sitting on 3 stone steps on a raised part of the large room they were in. When one walked towards him to adjust some controls on the console, Kevin estimated it to be at least 15 feet tall and its eyeballs larger than basketballs. The being right next to him then asked if he would like to visit their planet. Already traumatized and with fears of being taken as a specimen or other dire outcomes, Kevin declined. Instantaneously, he found himself lying on his bunk back on the ship, hyperventilating and covered with sweat. The bed curtain was whipped back to reveal Larry grinning at him and asking if he had enjoyed his little ride. Kevin was now feeling so fearful, even of Larry, that he ended the friendship. The shock and trauma of Kevin's encounter preceded his honourable discharge from the Navy and subsequent memory suppression for many years. His eventual recollection of the strange experience was triggered by a nature show which featured praying mantis insects. He suspects that he may still be subjected to abductions and is also concerned to see the beginnings of the natural disasters predicted by the ETs.